just going to point at it. Cincinnati, Ohio. West Carrollton, Ohio. That's not my name. Indianapolis, Indiana. Lincolnwood, Illinois. Up by Chicago. Cincinnati. Erlanger, down by the airport. Greenfield, Indiana. Pendleton, Indiana. Las Vegas. Large global company. Lids, Pennsylvania. And I just picked on, this is just here local. If you go to LA or Santa Fe or pick any reasonably large population center, guess what you're going to find in those places? Production company, doing something, doing stuff, all kinds of stuff. The entertainment industry, if you count live theater production, university theater production, church production, rock and roll touring, television, film, what's the word I'm looking for? Corporate theater.
Amusement parks.
Theater is? What?
Amusement parks.
Amusement parks. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about when I talk about corporate theater? So pick a large corporation. They have a whole bunch of employees, right? How do they get those people excited about the new product? They rent a convention center somewhere, and they hire a production company to come in and set up a big stage, and the CEO comes out and talks about the new product in front of all their employees. You know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars an event like that can cost? Guess who's putting it on? Some bunch of theater kids. Theater. I'm kind of kidding, but I'm kind of not. But if you combine all that stuff, think about all that stuff. All the film production, all the television production, that's huge. There are hundreds of thousands of people doing all that stuff. If we compare all of that, church production, the stuff we're doing, if we roll all that into a big ball, and we think about the economic power that has, Broadway, add it all together, it's teensy, it's this big in comparison to global transportation. It's a very, very tiny industry, but there's hundreds of thousands of people making a really good living doing this stuff. There's a lot of people that aren't getting paid enough, but anyway, what I'm saying is it's out there. If you want to work in this industry, there's a place for you to work anywhere in the world. You just go find that place. It's harder to find because it's kind of hidden. I don't know that I want to. Do you want me to click through some of these, look at some of these websites, or do you want to do that on your own? It's going to be kind of clumsy for me to do that here. So, pull this up, open up some of these stuff, look around at all these companies. What's above your head right now? Lighting equipment, or light fixtures, a projector, air conditioning, air handling ducts, and stuff like that. What's holding that stuff up? Rigging. How much trust are you putting in the materials and the workmanship of that stuff that's up there? How often are you doing that? Every day, every place you walk in. Do you ever think about what's over your head? Sometimes you do.
My favorite thing would be sitting in church. Okay, so I used to go to church when I was younger, and my favorite thing would be to see the lighting fixtures. Like, if that fell, who would that fall on?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I walked into an A&W restaurant one time. It was a brand new building. They had just built it, and it was the first week that they were open. And I walked in. They were doing a promotion with Dr. Pepper. They were giving away a Dr. Pepper mountain bike. And I walked in and I looked up, and there was a mountain bike hanging from the ceiling. And I immediately walked around it. Why did I walk around it? It was zip tied to the ceiling with zip ties. Plastic zip ties. Now, will zip ties hold that thing up there?
Oh.
Yes, absolutely will. The thing never fell down. They had a 3-month promotion that the thing stayed up there the entire time until they pulled somebody's name out of the raffle box, and they went up there with a pair of cutters and they cut the zip ties and brought the thing down and gave it to the person that won the bike. So, on one hand, do zip ties work as rigging materials? 100%. That bike stayed up there and nobody died. Is that the proper way to do that?
No.
Not at all. Did it work?
Yeah.
It's only dumb if it doesn't work. Please don't hang bicycles over paying customers' heads with zip ties. But what I'm saying is, just because, what's the rating on a zip tie? Is there, do manufacturers offer a rating on a zip tie?
Well,
Probably
I'm
not.
sure it has like a weight limit. I feel like it would.
No, I don't.
But like if you zip tie something together, if you're like closing something,
Yeah,
it
you're
feels
supposed
like,
to bear weight.
Yes, you're absolutely correct, and no, you're completely wrong.
yes.
Bro.
Because yes, if we take zip ties down to the lab and we start pulling on, we put them in machinery to pull them, guess what? They're all going to break probably about the same thing. So, how do we develop ratings for rigging materials?
See when they break.
To see when they break. We manufacture a bunch of them, we carry them down to the lab, we put them in machinery, we break them, and we figure out, oh, these are all breaking within this range, right? Some of them are going to break way higher than that because, that's happened. Some of them are going to break way lower than that because that's what happens. That's what a bell curve is. Does everybody know what a bell curve is? Do I need to explain a bell curve? No? Okay. So that's how we establish ratings. That's how we know how much things can hold, is that we do a bunch of testing and then we figure out where the middle of that is, and then we say, okay, we're going to be safe. We're going to say, okay, all of them broke at between 10 pounds and 20 pounds, so we're going to say that this is rated for 10 pounds because we don't want it to accidentally fail. We want to be conservative in our estimates. So that's how we develop ratings for things. Hang stuff, make sure. I'm going to teach you about rigging, not how to be a rigger. I heard a guy say the other day, I hadn't heard it this way before. Pay once, cry once. What does that mean? Pay once, cry once. If you pay for expensive things, you only have to pay for it once. If I buy a high quality tool, it's going to be more expensive than the cheap one. But guess what? That high quality tool is going to last way longer and not fail when the cheap one is. So if I buy it once, I don't have to go buy another one because I broke the cheap tool. I've got a nice quality tool that's going to last me a long time.
Do it right the first time.
Right. Don't buy cheap tools. Now, is there a place for cheap things in the world? Absolutely.
Yes.
It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm going out to buy cheap rigging hardware, if I go to the rigging supplier and I buy rigging hardware, it's expensive. Okay? But the hardware that I'm going to buy at the rigging supplier is going to have the manufacturer's name stamped on it. It's going to have the rating stamped on it. I'm going to know a lot about that. And if it fails when it shouldn't have, guess what the manufacturer's going to do? They're going to stand up and say, my bad, we're going to make this right. If I go buy rigging hardware, most people on the planet. Okay, how are we doing on time? What else do Pendleton, Indiana, just over there. They make a lot of truss over there. Okay, and then in fact, it just says made in China on it. Well, just nothing, not disparaging China. But it's gonna say it's not gonna have a manufacturer's name on it. It's not gonna have a serial number on it. It may or may not have some kind of rating on it, but it's cheap, and so we don't know a lot about it. Will that stuff hold up most of the stuff? Absolutely. Are there times when I use the cheap stuff? Absolutely. Because I know I'm not getting anywhere near its load rating. I have experience that tells me that it's going to do the work that I need to do. If I start getting to the limits of things, I'm going to want the good stuff. I'm going to want to know where that stuff came from. I'm going to want to know that it's not going to let me down. Okay? Don't drop. First rule of rigging: don't drop anything. Second rule: don't see rule number 1. I talked a little bit about that. We go into the second page. You can read all this, so I don't think it's a waste of my time to stand here and talk, or read it while you can do it on your own. Rigging systems. There's rigging diagrams. Look and see how that works. This part goes up and down. Hold the ropes over here, make this part go up and down. Most of you are familiar with rigging systems in a theater, correct?
We demoed it, right?
We demoed it, yeah. So this is an early system, meaning that it doesn't have a counterweight. It has a counterweight over here, but it's not. It always has to be batten heavy because it won't go. I can't pull the rope. I can't push these ropes up. You can't push rope, or at least not up. They're very far. And then we get into diagrams. This is like what we have in the theater. This is another version. This is a double purchase system. It's a variation of what we have over in our theater. I yelled about hardware a lot. This talks about the different types of wire rope connections.